What's poppin', y'all? It's KernelTommy, and I'm here with a new video and a new video series. Um, it's gonna be called like Scrub to Guide to Your Programmer. Basically, I applied to Amazon recently for a software developer job, and they had me take like a little test to test my coding skills. And basically, it was like two different problems that I had to solve, and I wasn't able to finish it in the amount of time. So I'm using the site that they use to have people practice for it, which is called Hacker Ring. So today I was gonna do one of the problems, and hopefully, as I'm working it out, you guys can watch it too. And if you're either starting out coding or you're rusty and you're trying to get back into the groove of things, then you can watch it too, and maybe it can help refresh your memory, and you can watch me suffer while I try and go through this. But the first one should probably be pretty easy until I get to later ones. But for now, I'm just going to do one problem today. This one is called plus minus. So just in case it's kind of hard to read for you, I'll read it out for you. So, given an array in integers, calculate the ratios of its elements that are positive, negative, and 0. Print the decimal value of each fraction on a new line with 6 places after the decimal. Note this challenge introduces precision problems. The test cases are scaled to 6 decimal places through answers with absolute error up to 10 to the negative fourth are acceptable. So you get an example array as 1, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 1. So there's 5 elements, 2 positive, 2 negative, and 1 0. So for the ratios, there's 2 positives out of the 5, so 2 out of 5 is 0.4, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And then same thing with the negatives, there's 2 negatives out of 5, so it's 0.4, and then 5 zeros. And then there's only 1 0 out of 5, so it's 1 out of 5, so it'd be 0.2. And then the results are printed as follows. So basically, I have to complete this plus minus function. So when you're given an array of integers, you print the ratios of the positive, negative, and 0 values of the array. And they have to be printed with 6 digits after the decimal. And the function does not return a value. Okay, so for our input, the first line contains an integer n, which is the size of the array. The second line contains an n-spaced separate integers that describe the array. So the constraints are, so the array is going to be bigger than, have more than 0 elements, but could be less than or equal to 100 elements. So there can be either 1 element or up to 100 elements in this array. And then also the numbers in the array can be either negative 100, greater than or equal to a negative 100, or less than or equal to 100, positive 100. So, and then we just gotta print 3 lines with proportionate positive values, proportionate negative values, proportionate zeros. So this is what your sample input should look like. So you got 6 elements in the array, and this is what your array looks like. These are the values: negative 4, 3, negative 9, 0, 4, 1. And then, so let's see here. Since there are 6 values, and then the first line is going to be the proportion of positive. So let's see, there's the positive 3, 4 and 1, so that's 3 out of 6, that's going to be 0.5. And then let's see, for the second line is the proportionate negative values, so it's going to be -4, -9, so it's 2 out of 6, so that's 0.3. So, and then finally the number zeros is 1 out of 6, so there's only one zero, so it would be 0.16666 and then rounds to 7. So alright, that pretty much explains the output, so let's get to it, shall we? So if you scroll down here, we have the function I need to fill out here. So to start off with, so it's going to be a list we're using with the array of integers. So it's going to be a list of integers. So start off with, let's do let's store an integer value for the length, just so that way it's easy to remember. Let's do num elements for the value, and we'll set that equal to array dot I think it's gonna be size, since it's a list technically. Otherwise, arrays are normally dot length. Alright, so next we need to go through the array. Well, we're going to need somewhere to store the number of positive, to store the number of negative, and the number of zeros. So let's put num negative, and we'll put 0. We'll initialize it as 0. And then let's do num positive, which will be 0. You guys see that okay? Yeah. Alright. And then num 0, which we'll put as 0. So next we need to go through the array, iterate through the array, and we're going to do that with for loop. And let's do for int I start at 0, and well I, the iterator is less than array dot size. Now just remember, it's important to realize that I know this used to trip me up all the time, but put the reason why it's less than, not less than or equal to array dot size, is because size is the number of elements in the array. So when you're going through the array, it starts at 0. So it's going to be one, since it starts at 0, it's going to be one less than the actual size of the array. So we want it to be less than, not equal to, because if you put equal to, when it gets to the last element, which let's say you have array size of 6, but the last element is going to be position 5 because it will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll have an index out of bounds there. So just make sure to put less than array.size, so that way you don't come across that error. Alright. Anyways, so and then we just gotta do iterate, increase it by 1 for each loop through here. Alright, so now that we got our loop set up, let's do an if statement, and now we just need to check to see it's iterating through the loop. We need to see if it's a positive, it's a negative, or it's a 0. So let's check to see if it's negative first. So we need the first element in the array. So we're going to do array dot get This might work with list, I'm not sure, because you normally with arrays you can do it like this, and that will get you whatever element you put in here. So it'll get us whatever I is equal to, and starting off it would be 0, so it would get us the element in the 0 position. But since this is a list, I'm pretty sure we need to do dot get I instead, and that gets the value at that position. So, and then we need to do equals, not just equals, because that's one equal sign is for when you're assigning variables to a value. We need to do two equal signs to check for like a condition. So I don't even know why I'm doing that, because this is I'm checking for something going to be less than 0. So, but if you're doing equal, checking if something was equals, like we're going to have to do with the 0, you do two equal signs, not one. So, since this is, I'm checking for negative, we're going to see if it's less than 0. Curly brace. Alright. So, now that we're checking to see if it's 0, if this condition is true, we need to increase our counter for negatives. So, we're going to do num negative plus plus, increase it by 1. Alright, so now that we're checking for the negatives, let's do an else if. Then we need to do the same thing. Array dot get I, and this time we're going to do greater than 0, since we're going to check for positives. And then, so now if it's positive, we're going to increase our positive value by 1. So let's just do plus plus. Or you can do plus equals 1. Either or will work. Alright, and then one last else. So if it's not going to be negative, and it's not going to be positive, it will be 0. So let's just do an else statement. So it's no matter if either one of these statements is not true, it's most definitely 0. So we can just put num 0 plus plus. Alright, now we're going through the array, and we have the number of we got the number of negatives counted, the number of positive counted, and the number of zeros counted. You know what? I did make one little mistake here. Since we're going to be working with doubles, or since this is actually going to be decimals, it would probably be best to make these doubles. So that way I don't have to do any conversions later when I do division. And it will be done for me. Alright, so now we need to print these out. So now it said, I forgot the order, so it's going to be positive, negative, and then 0. So we need to print the portion for positive, negative, and zeros. Sorry, getting my screen messed up here. Still see that? Alright. So, let's do... I actually read this ahead of time because I was not sure how you... I forgot how you actually do a certain number of decimal places, so I did a quick Google search. So, it might be kind of hard to read, but basically, you do a system.out format. Yeah, I'll just copy and paste it here real quick. So, to specify the number of decimal places, so we need 6 decimals. So, normally I would do like system.out print line, but we're going to do system.out format, and then it's going to be the percentage dot, and then 4 is going to be the number. That 4 is the number of decimal places, so we need 6 for us, so we're going to do 6. And I believe F stands for floating point, which I might have to change it to if that's the case, instead of doubles. So let's see here. Let's just test it out to see if this works. So we're going to do, we need, I already forgot already. Maybe I should put a comment in here. Positive, negative, zeros. So it's going to do, or it's going to be positive, negative. Make sure everything's on the screen for you guys so you can see. Negative, and I can't type, zeros. Alright, so we're going to do num positive divided by num elements. And hopefully it's about the same for each one. So just gonna do a quick copy paste. So we need negative. So let's do a negative here. And then num 0. And let's run this code to make sure it runs. So my output was 333. So it looks like, why am I got, oh wait, oh they need to be new lines, I believe. Alright, so let's do, don't know if it's gonna mess it up if I put a thing, so let's do just a quick system dot out dot print line, and we'll just have it print nothing. Let's see if this runs. Nice! We passed the test cases. Alright, so we have, my output is same there, and output is same there. Let's try submitting the code, see if we passed all the test cases. And would you look at that? We passed all the test cases, boy. Woo! Alright, that is problem number 1. Let's see. Guess we can, I'm gonna call that for now, just so that way we'll keep this as one problem per video maybe, so that way I'm not boring you, and we'll do a new problem in the next video, and that way you guys, I can link this one to you so you know exactly which problem I'm working on. So that way you can watch this as reference at the same time. But that might have been really easy for some of you, and I know this would probably just be good for me. It's gonna get way harder later, so it's good to just start with the easy stuff, one step at a time. But alrighty guys, well I think that's about it. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next videos.